Smartworks IPO looks to raise about 445 crores for our next leg of growth. Majority of this would be used for expansion in our core business, leasing large campuses where all services that they need to run the office and all the amenities that pamper their employees are all provided as a one-stop solution. So we are here to fuel the ambition of Enterprise India and extremely excited that this business opportunity of ours has unlimited potential and we are today only getting started.
What exactly is Smartworks?
You realize the office ecosystem in India was very different. You're spending more than 8 hours of your day at work. You don't want to be leaving the work feeling completely drained with energy. So amenities is one selling point of ours and no one does it as well. And in the expanse we do. We are making corporate India productive. Today more than 1 lakh employees use Smartworks every day. And today happy to share that we serve large global companies, MNCs, like I mentioned, EY, Google, but at the same time we also serve very large funded Indian unicorns, Grow, Moglix, and large Indian conglomerates, Asian Paints, ITC, L&T. Just to give you a mix of that we are at heart of wherever corporate India or anyone who's in India looking to have space, Smartworks is right there. This will be only a comma, not a full stop.
Hello, I am Muskan Kapoor from Startup Talkie, and today we are in conversation with Mr. Harsh Binani, the co-founder of Smartworks, that is India's largest flexible workspace provider for the enterprises. With Smartworks now going public, in this conversation we'll be talking about what the IPO means for the company, how their business works, why they take up the large campuses, their strong focus on providing office amenities, their growth strategy, and how they serve a wide range of Indian and global companies. Hi Harsh, how are you doing?
Feeling on top of the world on this momentous last few days.
Great, great. First of all, before we begin any conversation, huge congratulations to you guys for the Smartworks IPO. It's indeed a big moment, not just for your company, but for the entire, I think, India's office space sector as well.
Absolutely. It's beginning of a new journey, which has taken 8 long years, which included 2 years
Yeah.
of COVID as well.
Yeah.
It was grueling, a lot of hard days and toil, but intensely rewarding. So looking forward to, in some ways, the rebirth of the company after IPO.
Great, great. So I think it would be fair if we begin our conversation with this very big moment. Tell us something a little about the Smartworks IPO. What does it mean for the company at this point of time?
Smartworks IPO looks to raise about 445 crores for our next leg of growth. Majority of this would be used for expansion in our core business, which is largely the business spread across India of leasing large campuses, amenitizing it under Smartworks brand, and then getting mid to large enterprises to choose Smartworks as the office of their choice, where all services that they need to run the office and all the amenities that pamper their employees are all provided as a one-stop solution. This IPO also includes about 114 crores of repayment of some high cost debt, which will boost the margin profile and the cash flows of the company. And suffice to say that Morgan Stanley says that India is the office to the world. Our grand Prime Minister's vision of making India a developed economy by 2047, where we will be a $30 trillion economy. You can only imagine what will
Yeah.
be the need for modern workspaces, and particularly an idea like Smartworks, which in many manner or shape has changed the habit of how we consume office. Up
Mhm.
until now, before Smartworks started, most of the consumption used to happen in the traditional office format. You, of course, had business centers, etc., but that was more for temporary use.
Mhm.
So, we are here to fuel the ambition of Enterprise India and extremely excited that this business opportunity of ours has unlimited potential. And we are today only getting started. And the next, and as they say, this will be only a comma, not a full stop. So in the next 25 years, we are very young. There will be several such commas before we eventually hit the mark.
Yeah. I hope you go on with more and more commas with the years to come. Okay, so before we get into the business aspects, scale, and strategy, for those who might be new to your story, can you give us a little brief about what exactly is Smartworks and what was your vision as a co founder when you started it, and how has that vision evolved over the years now?
No, absolutely. Nitish, while he was studying overseas, and I
Hmm.
have also spent a lot of my formative years in US,
Yeah.
we both had the opportunity of visiting campuses of large multinationals. We were really mesmerized, right, by the energy and happiness of their employees. The campuses there were just not offices. They were vibrant hubs with amenities designed for modern workforce, with a lot of indoor and outdoor sports, crash, gym,
Hmm.
yoga centers, collaboration zones. You realize the office ecosystem in India was very different. And only few multinationals could really afford to create such facilities for their employees. This is where we built the conviction and goal to revolutionize office spaces and create aspirational work environments to disrupt India's commercial real estate scene. And look at where we are today. In less than 8 years, we have built a portfolio of 10 million square foot of office spaces across 15 cities, 54 centers, and we have more than 2 lakh seats. And we are the largest in this segment. Nitish started the company, and I remember very vividly exchanging notes with him when I was in US and sharing with him how platform businesses in a global context, ideas like Uber, Meta, Amazon, were all thriving. And particularly while this idea was built in the origin of co working, which was very popular overseas, you realize that in India, you have to Indianize the idea. You also have to
Definitely.
build an idea in a different manner, which is where the concept of platform came. So early on, when I was with McKinsey during this period, working for them, also pursuing my business school, I got convinced about the opportunity and took the plunge and came back to India and joined hands with Nitish. So it has been quite a journey since then. And to very simplify what we do is assume there is a large campus anywhere in the major micro market clusters of India, Pune, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. We will take these large campuses on lease. So we are an asset light model.
Hmm.
Once we take these assets on lease, we will amenitize it completely with all the amenities I mentioned to you that you see in a campus. We will tech enable the campus, offering it right from parking to the visitor management system. And then within the floors of the building, which is where we will design, fit out your office, and run it like a hotel where all the services that you typically need under the one roof. It could include 30 odd services, right? Pest control, AMC, utility.
Hmm.
Everything is one stop, all provide together. So that at heart is the concept of Smartworks. And the advantage to the clients are immense. You get one
Hmm.
standardized offering across India.
Okay.
It is more cost efficient. Your employees are also very happy, and it's inherently more flexible. So, in some ways, you've changed the paradigm of how office space should be looked at and consumed.
Great, great. That's a pretty good start to the story. Thank you very much on that. Okay, let's now move to a little bit of the business side. If you had to explain, like, how does Smartworks business model work and what differentiates it exactly from the other industry players, like the USP, what would you call that to be?
Smartworks has, in a very short period of time, emerged as the largest pan India player. And why Smartworks has been able to do this in a very unique way, which is next to none, is A, we are the largest. So, scale gets you a lot of benefits.
Hmm.
We have extensive reach in not only 7 tier 2 cities, but also 7 major tier 1 cities where, frankly, 90% of the consumption happens. So, pan India execution track record is extremely important. Second, We have this unique ability to take really large campuses, which could range anywhere from 400,000 to 700,000 square foot. This is unique to Smartworks. No one does campuses as large as we do. Third, we are able to get really large MNCs like Google, Persistent, EY to come and consume this environment of ours for very long tenures. So the advantage of that is that they sign up very long tenures with us, they are very sticky, but they also grow with us. So wherever they need pan India consumption, about 30% of our revenue is actually going to come from customers such as these because we continue growing with them. So that gives you a very solid customer base. Four, we have also been able to ensure that we have cost leadership. So, coming from business families, we realize in India you have to build businesses in a very frugal mindset. And your biggest entry barrier is the fact that if you're able to bring down your cost of both your capital expenditure, which in our case is for fit outs, as well as operating expenditure, which is like hotel like services which you run to deliver your day to day needs in an office, then it gives you a big advantage that your price point is the most value. So your customer always feels that no one can beat or match the smart work price. So they have no reason to leave. And we know whether it's an up market or a down market, we will always have this cost leadership advantage. And that's how you will see in history in India as well. Some of the best companies in the country, Maruti, Indigo, they've got that scale
Yeah.
now where it's impossible to match their cost, which is where SmartWorks now is starting to get to. And finally, we have a very capital efficient business model. So far, to get to 1 crore square foot, we've only raised 500 crore equity. So the
Okay.
capital deployment strategy, the efficiency with which we are able to scale and financially engineer this entire process is simply been very efficient. And today, when we are operating any of our centers, how we typically make money is whatever we invest within 3 years, Muskan, we are able to recover our entire capex for this large campus. So assume you're taking a 15-year-old campus for 15 years. If you recover your capex within 3 years, then for the remainder 12 years, you can open four new campuses. So that's the advantage of building a self-sustaining platform business, which seems very capital intensive from outside, but in reality is actually built in a very different principle.
It's very sustainable at the end of the day. That's great, great. Since speaking of centers, you mentioned it one of your USP, the large centers. Four out of your five centers are actually above zero point 0.5 million square feet. Why did you go for this exact strategy? What was the idea behind it to just follow this?
Look, the backstory is that Nitish has been exposed to very large scale manufacturing from very early ages. I have,
Hmm.
while being with US, with
Yeah.
McKinsey, seen large global corporations. And both of us have seen that one of the biggest advantages of building a model like this is large can
Hmm.
continue getting larger. It's more scalable. Because for
Yeah.
us to add 2.5 to 3 million square foot every year, which is why we are now also the largest with a unique ability to grow the fastest, it's a very easy call that, hey, look, I have to just sign 7 to 8 buildings in a year. And the advantage of doing these large campuses is that A, you are getting a large space. So every inch of the space can be
Hmm.
utilized to create amenities, and the balance area can be absolutely maximized to give you as many seats, which from a business commercial point of view makes sense, right? That more efficient I am, more seats I can generate. But more
Definitely.
importantly, the larger we get, lower is our cost of operations.
Hmm.
More compelling it is for our customers to take larger seats with us. And therefore, that gives us
Yeah.
a very deadly combo that our risk reduces because we can get these clients to quickly take very large inventory and fill up the campus. So it's like a 360-degree advantage, which from the outside seems very difficult to comprehend. In fact, when we started the business, both of us were young. We were called out that, you know, average co-working size in India is 35,000 square foot. You'd be
Okay.
crazy to take 350,000 square foot, which is 10 times more. But
Hmm.
Muskan, time and again, we've seen that if you're trying to create a very large outcome, disruption doesn't come from inside. It actually comes from outside. You have to change the rules of the game. So our decision
100%.
of doing that got vindicated. During COVID, we were fully occupied. We didn't lose money. In fact, during COVID, we took larger and larger campuses because we were getting very sweet deals. So we invoked our animal
Yes.
spirit. We were profitable. Both of us hail from this community called Marwadis, right? So we were like, let's
Hmm.
go for it now because this is
Great.
the time where there is fear. So let's actually take advantage of this business cycle
Hmm.
because we know nothing is permanent, right? It has to end. But that's where you have to show guts and audacity,
Hmm.
which is how Smartworks is built. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely in a situation like COVID, you were able to help somebody at the end of the day. You were able to solve so many problems. So it's good. And if you're capitalizing on that, that's the best thing. Even for Marwadis, it's like a win-win situation. One more thing that stands out in your approaches is you have a very strong focus on your office amenities and a full service ecosystem, like you mentioned, that literally from A to Z, you guys are focusing on providing all the kinds of amenities. Where did that thought come from? Were you able to observe that lack or something that made you go on it?
Look, formative years in US, visiting campuses, observing
Hmm.
from the outside, that people there were
Yeah.
actually going to work to enjoy, get energized.
Hmm. Right.
You have a large gymnasium, you have a massive food court, you feel very happy, energized, and productive in that environment. So,
Hmm.
amenities is a day and let's just use the anecdote of residential complexes which are doing very well. They have a massive clubhouse. People know for a
Hmm.
fact that you need this to improve your quality of life. And if you're spending more than 8 hours of your day at work, you don't want to be leaving the work feeling completely drained with energy.
Exhausted.
So
Yeah.
amenities is one selling point of ours, and no one does it as well and in the expanse we do. And the unique ability of doing campuses has allowed us to do that. And today we feel extremely happy that we are making corporate India productive. Today, more than 1 lakh employees use Smartworks every day. And as we continue to scale 3x, 4x from here, you can only imagine how big this number is going to get in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And practically speaking, if today, as a purpose, we feel that not only are we making these companies more efficient at their work and their employees more productive at work, then you've given back to the community in a very meaningful way. Uh, at the
Yeah.
same time, it makes a lot of commercial and business sense as well.
Right. Now, speaking of clients and customers, you guys have been dealing with it since so long. And it's after COVID, I think this market has become pretty competitive because you guys had an early stage advantage. Definitely, you started it before COVID, but many players saw the opportunity during COVID only. So, after that, the market became quite saturated. So, what keeps your clients loyal to you? How do you approach like client retention and establish that long-term relationships with them?
So before I answer the client retention question, let me set on
Hmm.
record. India is one of the
Hmm.
largest markets for flex globally. And India has time and
Okay.
again seen that if an idea has merit in saving time and money, then in
Hmm.
India, 2G can become 4G very quickly. So
Yeah.
flex space has not grown so much in the world as much as it's grown in India.
Mm.
So
Okay.
Smartworks was the market leader in our square footage and expanse before COVID, and we are also the market leaders after COVID. So this idea of
Hmm.
Smartworks did not get created before because of COVID. COVID
Hmm.
accelerated our market leadership and allowed us to grow faster than anyone else. So today, when the industry is, uh, growing at X, Smartworks is growing at 1.5x. So in the last
Okay.
few years, we've added more than 4 million square foot, right? In the last 3 years, from 6 million square foot to 10 million today. In the last 3 months alone, we've added another 1.5 million square foot, which is yet to be handed over. So just shows you the velocity with which we've been able to grow.
Hmm.
And all of this has happened because the consumers have seen a massive change in habit.
Yes.
So today, if I had to use another analogy, I love cricket. Test cricket is something which I admire. But at the same time, I am also cognizant of the fact that the youth is now all drifting towards T20. So it's not to
Hmm.
say that traditional office spaces is not going to continue. It's going to forever be very, very relevant. But if
Yeah.
you just contextualize the data points to then see that if today every if 25% of the deals every month are flex space deals, it just shows you the velocity with which this market has opened up. It was 0% Muskan in
Hmm.
2017 of commercial RE, practically for all purposes.
Okay.
Today it's almost 10%. So it just shows you how much it's grown. And quite honestly, the secret sauce behind why we've been able to retain our clients is because the client profile we choose is large enterprises who sign long
Yeah.
tenures upfront, and they are moving their corporate offices, their head offices with us, which inherently is very sticky. And they
Hmm.
know for a fact that their employees are very happy in this space. The price point at which they are staying with us is something which is very difficult for them to match or replicate on their own, even if they were to move out, go
Yeah.
anywhere else. So when you're able to take care of your customers, solve a big need of theirs, which is complicated, right? Managing office, all the services, keeping their
Yeah.
employees happy and doing it at a price point that we do, it's an unbeatable combination. So it's not
Great.
surprising that out of 100 seats that we sell, today our inventory is upwards of 230,000 seats with about, 2 lakh seats which are operational, the rest are in motion. So just to give you that perspective, for every 100 seats that we have, 86 seats out of that gets retained.
Okay.
So churn is not a very important metric in our business because that number is immaterial in general.
Right. Great. On that note, client mix plays a major role since we are talking about the clients. Would you like to tell how diversified is your client base today, if you look at it? And how do you think that impacts your growth and stability in this very changing market?
We are very diversified in terms of our client mix. So the
Hmm.
India's RE overall is driven by global companies and ITITS in general. In our case, it does not mirror that completely because we've diversified across different sectors. So today, about 42% of our clients are ITITS engineering companies. As we started to see global headwinds, particularly with ITITS, we started to diversify and also
Hmm.
penetrate consumer, manufacturing, healthcare, consulting, who took a little longer to convert because they were more used to the traditional concept. But
Hmm.
when they did adopt it, they did it with very long tenures. So making them our infrastructure partner, making them believe that we can be your pan India choice and take care of your office needs across the country. That turned out to be quite a game changer for us. And today, happy to share that we serve large global companies, MNCs, like I mentioned, EY, Google. But at the same time, we also serve very large funded Indian unicorns, uh, Grow, Moglix, and large Indian conglomerates, Asian Paints, uh, ITC, L&T, just to give you a mix of uh, that we are at heart of wherever corporate India or anyone who's in India looking to have space.
Hmm.
Smartworks is right there.
Yeah, basically, whether it's a unicorn startup to a global MNC, you guys are everywhere.
Absolutely. And,
That's
and and
that's
we
great.
seek more and we want to continue making them very, very happy and hope they continue growing with them because that makes our work easy, right? Because wherever they have to grow, we just follow them.
Yeah, that's great. You get to have a path. Great, great. Um, okay, so since we have spoken about the centers clients, can we just jot down when it comes to growth scale and strategy? Can you walk us through how the smart works, how it has grown year on year in terms of everything? Let's say revenue, physical footprint, number of centers, just to give people an idea like about the growth of SmartWorks as a whole.
No, absolutely. Look, when you look at some of the largest real estate companies in the country,
Hmm.
we admire them a
Right.
lot. And
Hmm.
the largest rent collector in the country who collects 4,000 crore has a 80-year-old legacy. Smartworks in a short span of 8 years, which includes 2 years of COVID, today has amassed a rental revenue of about 1350 crores as of FY25. We are a new age asset light capital efficient business Any business that gets created, Muskan, initially
Hmm.
requires a lot of investment in its seeding stage
Yes.
to get to a certain critical mass. Once that critical mass gets achieved, then that turns into enormous profits. So Smartworks today is at that stage where we are starting to not only grow our revenue, but profitably and sustainably. And I know today that
Correct.
somewhere a lot of perception is that you're young, it's a new age idea, you're going to burn. No, there are ways to build businesses with little capital, like in our case, and build it in a profitable, sustainable manner. So, to give you just the entire trajectory in terms of numbers, last 3 years, revenue grew by 1.8x times. So, from about 711 crores to 1374 crores odd. But our profits during this time had the highest EBITDA growth. We grew by 3.5x times from
Okay.
36 crore in 23 to about 172 crores in 25. But that's not where we believe the strength of smart work lies alone. We are a cash flow focused company. We've built a de-risk and insulated model relying on strong cash flows. And we admire the late Rakesh Junjunwala, who always used to utilize that when you look at businesses, you are investing in future cash flows of that business. And that is where you will see smart work shine. Because against that 172 crore EBITDA, we had 240 crores of cash flow. So
Okay.
your cash flow is always higher than EBITDA. So across each of these three metrics, you've seen improvement. So our margins last year were about 12.5%. Our return on capital employed has also seen a rapid growth. And as they say, revenue is vanity, uh, profit is reality, but cash flow is sanity.
Yeah.
So that's where we believe SmartWorks' strength lies. It's capital efficiency and cash flow focused way of doing business.
Okay. Thank you so much for all the numbers. That's great to have. Okay, towards now I'm gonna zoom out towards a bigger picture. Where do you see India's flexible workplace industry heading over, let's say, next 3 to 5 years? And how do you think SmartWorks is planning to utilize or capitalize on the change that you might be expecting in that given point of time?
Look, if you ask me honestly, I think the flex space party is even yet to begin. All of
Okay.
our peers have done a phenomenal job in expanding the pie and creating more
Hmm.
awareness. When
Hmm.
today we say that almost 10% of India's flex space is,
Hmm.
uh, or rather, India's commercial real estate space is flex space. It's not happened on back of one or two players. All of us have played a part in creating more awareness, educating customers. And we've generally seen that if an idea gains a lot of velocity, then it's not surprising that in the next 2, 3 years, you're talking about the flex space market doubling very, very easily.
Hmm.
And today, if you look at all of us, SmartWorks is still less than 0.5% of India's commercial real estate space, which is, by the way, growing. This quarter, first half of this year has already seen more than 50 million square foot getting consumed. And if India's vision of becoming a developed economy has to evolve, then you can only imagine that we will need more and more space. And we just hope that domestic economy continues to grow as it is. That's very, very positive. And India continues to be the office to the world. So I would much rather see this question not as what are going to be the numbers, because it's honestly how much can you do? That's your only constraint.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about this in this manner, it's not necessarily a challenge. It's just more about this is an opportunity which has unlimited potential.
Okay. That's great. That's a pretty forward-looking approach on your end because I think people just mostly focus on the numbers and forget that there is a concept called potential that always just lies in the corner. People do not notice much.
Look, I can presume this is a big play, big mega
Hmm.
trend on office services. And we can see this industry where perhaps IT was in late 90s or early 2000s. So there is, if you ask all of us today, everyone will talk about how much they are constrained by their execution. None of us are constrained today by either demand or supply, uh, or capital for that matter of fact. It's how fast you can grow and deliver, because at the end of the day, while it might sound simple, execution pan India is not easy. India requires a lot more focus. And that's where we believe we want to continue focusing a lot of our energies. And in fact, as a management strategy as well, like a blinker horse, we've focused on only scaling our core business. We today
Hmm.
have 1 lakh employees. We have opportunities to monetize what they consume within office, as well as look at several other areas where we can expand. But we are also cognizant, as they say, right, that history is the best teacher with worse students. That time and again, a lot of companies, uh, scale up too quickly and
Yeah.
spread themselves too thin. If you look at examples like Indigo, right? Like today they have 65%
Hmm.
market share. We admire them immensely, but they also are one of the
Yeah.
largest F&B, revenue earners. Had they started doing that
Hmm.
right on day one, perhaps they wouldn't have reached the scale they would have, perhaps.
Yeah.
So for now, we believe we are limited by managerial bandwidth, but that's also growing, expanding. So at the right time, core will continue growing. At the same time, core plus and the VAS will also start to grow.
Yeah, it's all about the strategy, how you approach it, and also, most importantly, the patience that it requires in the process of execution. That's what matters, definitely. That has been great. It has been really insightful to get to know a lot of these things. And just to end our conversation on a little lighter and personal note, I'll shoot you up with a final question. It's not about Smartworks, it's just about you. Let's say it's a hypothetical thing. If the 20-year-old Harsh were watching you today, doing this with your company, what do you think he'd be most proud of? Not in just terms of milestone, but also the person you have become today. Like if your younger self is watching you right now, what he would be thinking. What do you think?
Firstly, I'm still very young.
Just a
20
college
years,
Harsh, just a
20
college.
years.
You are over your college
No,
days.
absolutely. So college days. So just to set,
Yeah, yeah.
the younger Harsh would have pushed themselves to take more risk earlier in life, which
Hmm.
I took at a much later point when I was in America and decided not to
Yeah.
pursue the American dream and come back and take a plunge in the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem, because we believe that we can build great companies out of India which are world class, and perhaps that's what drives us uh, to this. And today, if I look at how the journey started, on an average, it takes about 10 years for any large company in India to go public, or perhaps even more.
Yes.
But here is where we've created a new concept in a fast growing industry, and in 8 years, we're ready to go public. And at the same time, we've also seen 2 years of COVID. We've also seen few years of R&D. The business model had a lot of pressure because there were a lot of global pressure of models not working. So we've seen so many ups and downs and
Yeah.
survived and thrived. So it's almost also to sort of pat on the back, that, hey, look, there have been so many dark days, challenges, but you've been resilient and perseverant to eventually build something of great value to your customers, to your employees, and in the same process, created a lot of value for yourself.
Yeah. That's great.
And Abhi,
So, uh,
Muskan, I think there are still 25, 30 years to go more to continue building. And as I
definitely.
said, the flex space party is only starting. So, a lot
Yeah.
going on.
So, definitely let's say, school Harsh or the college Harsh is definitely proud today with this moment, and you definitely get to have a pat on the back from him for sure.
Of
That's
course, of
that's
course. And,
great.
and parents are
Great.
so incredibly happy. I think that makes it more happier.
Yeah, that's the end goal too. Besides work, I think that is the most important aspect. How do they feel? They are very proud.
Absolutely. So is my daughter, which makes me even very happy.
Yeah, it's a big moment for them. Again, that's congratulations to the entire family as well, because at the end of the day, company is a family, but our family is also there.
No, no. And in fact, Nitish and I have worked very, very hard to get to we have.
Hmm.
It's
Yes.
teamwork in terms of getting to we have. We are all a sum of our teams. So to the entire team of
Hmm.
Smartworks, who's been right there and supported in this entire mission, it's a very proud moment for everyone.
Definitely. Okay, towards the end, would you like to give any quick short piece of advice to your fellow entrepreneurs? Anything personal that you would like to say?
Take risks early and focus on your health before it starts to take a toll, because all of us work very long hours. But
Yeah,
as they say, if you are uh, staying healthy, then you will be able to take care of a lot of ups and downs which any typical business cycle has. So that's something that one should not ignore. At least I am trying not to ignore and working hard. Still a long journey to go,
yeah.
but that's maybe something which I feel is very critical, which we as entrepreneurs in our entire pursuit sometimes forget to take care of ourselves.
Definitely. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted to have, and no tech or anything involved in the advice, and simple ground level कि ध्यान रखिए, risk लीजिए, but अपना ध्यान भी रखिए. So that's a great, I think, towards the end of the thing, great advice for everyone. Thank you very much, Harsh. It has been quite an insightful conversation with you, and it was great to connect with you. Thank you so much once again for your time and
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.